welcome back to the lecture series in application of nanotechnology in agriculture. So, we have kind of browsed through the applications of nanomaterials in animal production. So, today we will be moving into another aspect of utilization of nanomaterial, that is food security in terms of food preservation, food processing, food packaging. So, okay, let me just put the topic and then we will kind of get an overview of so basically what we will be doing is now nanotechnology applications for food preservation, one of the critical aspect, and why is it so, we will talk about safety and security. So, these are some of the very important aspects what we are going to delve today. So, talking about food preservation, safety and security, all of us are aware of the fact that suppose this is the season for oranges, but still we get processed product of orange in off season. Since time immemorial, mankind has learned the agriculture, it has made it a point during off season or during the lean production time, it should be able to preserve, store, whether it is a grain, whether it is some other form of crops like legumes in terms of pulses, even preserving vegetables or processing those products into some other products like, say for example, jam, jellies, marmalades, sauces, ketchups. So, food processing and preservation is a pretty long story. When you talk about achar and all these things, these are nothing but you are transforming the product into another form which will last for a prolonged period of time. Of course, everything has a shelf life, it cannot be there forever, but this is how since the onset of agriculture, mankind has also developed from cottage, from mother's kitchen to a cottage to a big industry. Food preservation and safety remain a part of our learning. Well, when we talk about preserving food, so you have to use a lot of preservatives, you have to use a lot of different kind of compounds which will not allow fungal growth, or when you are storing grains or storing pulses, you have to ensure there is not infestation of insects or other pests, no microbial attack. So, these are all interlinked phenomena. Now, when you have to do so, you have to use tons of chemicals. They could be synthetic, they could be natural. Say for example, whenever we store things, you must have seen must have heard it from your grandma or mom that they put neem balls out there as a Deracata indica, okay, which is a common practice in India. Some people put turmeric or haldi, okay, balls inside. They say those will repel the insects. Similarly, some places in big storehouses they use gamaxine. In terms of processing, people use acetic acid and transforming the marmalade jams. They use a lot of sugar to prevent any kind of microbial attack. So these are common, these are not something out of the world thing. They are day-to-day wisdom which are passed from one generation to another. So in these few classes, we'll try to systematically study what are the steps involved where all nanotechnology can play a critical role in order to reduce waste of food, in order to preserve the food with least amount of natural or synthetic compounds by going down to the nanomaterial zone. In other words, you are just reducing the size in order to really, achieve the goal, and what all economical benefit we can derive out of it. So let's move on and let's see some of the aspects of food preservation, safety and security. So one of the major things, so nanostructures for smart food. Nano, in a flowchart form we will discuss this, nanostructures for smart food. Okay. So in terms of that, we will be talking about food nanopreservation and food nanosafety. Okay. These are the two aspects what we are going to delve. Okay. Food nano preservation and food nano safety. So in terms of food nano safety, what are the aspects which are being addressed currently in the research is against pathogen, this is one of the major problem, infestation of pest. Second, anti-allergens and pesticides, anti-allergens and pesticides. Third, reduce heavy metal usage, reduce the use of heavy metals. And the fourth aspect what is dealt is inhibit the formation of biofilms. This is mostly the microbial attack. Okay, inhibit biofilm formation. So if we look on the other side in terms of the food safety, so this is the food safety part, and if we look at food preservation part, in terms of food preservation, the areas where major thrust are, one is encapsulation, second is water treatment, humidity treatment, water treatment will be the next topic soon we will be dealing. Water treatment, humidity treatment, okay. Now this food preservation will lead to food with nano functionality in terms of why we call them smart food. Food with nano functionality. And what are those functionalities? They have enhanced physical properties, what is being desired of, enhanced physical property, in terms of the shelf life of the food, protect chemical deterioration, protect chemical deterioration. Similarly, enhance nutritive quality, enhance nutritive quality. Okay. Similarly, in terms of food nano packaging, when we talk about, these are all an interlinked circle. Food nano packaging, so these are some of the functionalities which are derived out of it. One is intelligent sensing of nano coated packaging, intelligent sensing of nano coated packaging. One of the areas, active antimicrobial packaging, antimicrobial packaging, and bio-based eco-friendly, bio-based eco-friendly edible packaging. So, there could be many more of these, but these are the key attributes what is expected of these kind of modifications by encapsulation, water treatment, humidity treatment of the food. Okay. So, what I wanted to highlight is that the whole food industry currently is kind of looking for these different aspects. If you look at the right hand side of it, when you talk about the food nanopreservation, this area is the modern post harvest technology. Okay. So, having said this, what we will do is next we will move on to talk about the steps for processing and utilization of nanomaterials in food sectors. So, the steps for processing and utilization of nanomaterials in food sector. Okay. So, to start off with, we have already talked about, so this is how the flow chart will grow up, give you an idea. Nanomaterials, desired nanomaterials, okay. Processing of nanomaterial, we have already talked a lot about it during the coursework. Toxicity analysis, this is the third step. This is pretty critical. In terms of toxicity analysis, one has to ensure that particular nanomaterial is not causing any harm to the consumer, to the human. So, say for example, you are using some form of carbon which is human body is used to, like carbons found in gripe water, carbon found in biochar, meat or something. So, it means the body is compatible. So, you can use those kind of carbons. Okay. So, this is when you talk about the toxicity analysis. This is one critical step before any kind of food and drug organization is going to allow the product to come into picture. Then the product formulation, this is extremely important, this part, how you are going to deliver it, product formulation. So, this is a big area of chemical engineering, food chemical engineering, okay, and biochemical engineering. The formulation, in what form you are going to supply. Say for example, when you talk about formulation, so you must have seen nasal sprays, you must have seen sprays for treating the plants, you have seen powder, you have these in the plug point for mosquito repellent, you have these kind of liquid which you plug in and that vapor comes out. So, these are different forms of formulations, how you are formulating the product. So, the way you will be formulating the product will decide how the product will spread out. So, for any kind of nanomaterials, one has to ensure how you are formulating it so that it could be used pretty efficiently. Okay. So, next in the line is your food safety and biosecurity. Okay. Food safety and biosecurity. So, these are the initial steps, and this chart will continue as we will move through. So, selection of the nanomaterial, how you are processing it, what kind of toxicity analysis is being done, what is the product formulation you are using, then comes the critical one, food safety and biosecurity. So, I will close in here. In the next class, we will continue from this chart where we have stopped today. Thank you.